Make some noise for Taylor O'Sullivan for making this possible. Photographer extraordinaire. Oh my goodness. So, our good friend Mehdi, Best Framing, where you see all of this beautiful art being held in, connected us. And I said, Mehdi, I'm looking for an extraordinary artist, photographer that we could feature at our new listing. He connected us, and I've just been more and more blown away at, one, the art, the attention to detail in your photography, but also like your heart and your passion. And so I'm really excited for the group here to hear what you were thinking when you captured these beautiful shots. So can we get Taylor the mic? Can we get her the mic? Do we even need a mic? Yes, we do need a mic. One more time, Taylor O'Sullivan, make some noise, y'all. Thank you for being here, and thank you guys. Please have, while we're chatting, pour yourself a glass of wine, enjoy the charcuterie boards that my wife made. She's not here right now, but she designed those. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you
everyone for being here. Thank you for the intro.
So give us some insight on, even before we dive into your work, right? How did this all begin, even before this medium of photography?
Yeah. So my name's Taylor O'Sullivan. I'm a fine art photographer. I'm based here in Southern California. And my journey into film and photography started over 15 years ago.
Okay.
My background is actually in film and television. So I worked in Hollywood, on TV shows and movies, and primarily documentary film for the last 12 years. And very fortunately, I'm blessed to say that a career in documentary film was a really great choice. It brought me to over 60 countries in the last 10 years.
Wow.
And so how a lot of this collection came into fruition was that I would go to some exotic location for a movie or a TV show or a documentary, and then I would wake up an hour early and walk around by myself wherever I was with a film camera, shooting still photography just for me, not for work. Film was always my work and photography was always my passion.
And then at what age did that develop?
Very early on, I got into a filmmaking class in high school when I was 13 years old. Very fortunately, on accident, actually, they put me in a choir class. Okay. And I am a
you walked into the wrong
horrific singer. And so I begged them to put me in any other elective besides choir. And it was actually not even offered for underclassmen. But the first day I went there and I saw the green screens and the cameras, and I was totally captivated by it kind of poured myself.
And what city was this?
That was in Rancho Santa Margarita. I went to Tesoro High School.
Awesome.
And then went to Chapman University for film school, which was a really great launching point.
So you knew around 13 years old that you wanted to get into film or photography. Was it one or the other?
It was film first.
It was film.
But they really go hand in hand. Yeah. There's so much overlap.
And where did that passion come from for that?
I don't know. I think it was just always inside of me. It was very inherently natural. I think that I've always been drawn to documentary because I really love storytelling and I really love people. And that's essentially what documentary is. And I think that's why that work is so fulfilling, is because by being a documentary filmmaker, you essentially get to become a mini expert at whatever story you're telling. So it changes from year to year. And it's been such an amazing opportunity to see the world, and I've found myself in situations that I never would have otherwise been in, working in film and documentary. And
so that's interesting. You know, anytime that I see somebody that is following their passion, I have 5 kids, as crazy as that sounds. All the different kinds of ages you might want to experience of parenting, I've got covered right now, from 2 to 23. But anytime and so it's kind of off topic, but I think it's important. Who here is a parent? Who here has, okay, cool. So question that I have, like, you're living your dreams, you're following your passion. Was there something that and I look, my oldest daughter is 12, my youngest daughter is 2, so I would love to see my daughters following and pursuing their goals and dreams and their passions. So I'm just kind of curious, was there something that your parents or grandparents did that impacted you in a way to chase your dreams and follow your passion?
Yeah, well, you really teed that off perfectly. My mom is here in the audience.
That's your mom?
Yeah, look at her. She looks
my
just like me.
goodness. That's your sister.
I know. We get that all the time. She loves that. I feel like growing up, you guys were always yes people. I think I had a lot of dreams, anything I wanted to try, all the sports that I was terrible at, all the classes. They were always very supportive. I think as a family, we're very entrepreneurial. Yeah. So I think in some cases when you're 18 and you say, I want to go to film school, most parents might say, maybe that's a bad idea.
Sure?
Maybe you should get a real job. But they said, I think it's great. Let's go for it. And they've always
Kudos
been
to the
super
parents.
supportive.
Make some noise for that support. Great job, Mom. Awesome. Very cool. Very cool. So was there, and this is something I'm curious about, was there ever a point as you're pursuing your goals and dreams with film and photography where you're like, I don't know if this is going to work. I think I actually do need to go and get a job. Or were there times where you actually did have another job that maybe you didn't like? Or have you just always just been on this path where you were doing what you love?
Well, working in film requires a lot of grunt labor. Getting
okay.
into Hollywood is absolutely required that you
like,
do.
I know, man.
Unpaid internships, lots of really hard work for years and years. I remember when I first moved to LA, I was probably 21 and I was working on a movie and I was making so little money. I think I was making $400 a week, working like 15 hours a day.
Ooh.
And I couldn't actually even afford to pay my rent. And so I was driving Lyft at night.
Oh, wow.
So I would go work in the production office on this big feature film. I was the producer's assistant.
Okay.
And then I would drive Lyft from about 10 p.m. till midnight every night. Very little sleep. But honestly, I enjoyed all of it. Even driving for Lyft, I met so many great people that it's funny because when you drive Lyft in LA, everybody works in film. And so when they get in your car and they see that you're a nice, normal person, they're like, what are you doing driving Lyft? And I go, I'm a production assistant. I just moved to LA. So truly, I'm such a nerd that I absolutely love everything about my work. And so even those times when I was taking the lowest man on the totem pole job, I loved every second about it. That's because it's all a learning experience. And you really, truly, in that world, you really only learn by doing and watching others that are better than you succeed. So I truly love all of the work that I've gotten to do over the years.
And I think that shows in the way the product comes out. Yeah, you can't fake it. That is so awesome. Make some noise for that, y'all. Very cool.
Well, you're very passionate about your work, so I know that resonanes, that you love what you do and you know that feeling.
And I actually left this job twice.
Tell me about that.
This is not about me. No.
Tell me a little
bit. But, I think when you are pursuing anything, it's easy to get caught up in the doing of that thing, whether you're an artist, a real estate agent, a nurse, a chef. It's easy to get caught up in the doing. And it took a while to realize that, like, it's not about the doing. It's about the being. And that was where the breakthrough really occurred for me in real estate, because I left after 4 years, and then I was about to leave again at the 8th year. And I realized that I was just kind of getting caught up in the doing. And I started to shift and do a lot more work on in personal development and tapping into more who I'm being in the process. And that really just shifted everything. And I started to fall in love with every aspect of the business. Our business case, almost 80% of our business comes from knocking on a door, which is like the most difficult thing you can do. And I think I've encouraged so many people to do it because I have fun doing it. People are like, how could you have fun doing it? But I think when you love what you do, you learn to love the good times and you learn to love the bad times, because it's all a part of the craft. Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's what it is.
A lot of
for
resilience in door knocking.
Yes, for sure. I think this was probably a door knock. Yeah, I think the way we met this guy originally, the first time. So let's talk about everything that we're seeing here. And just so you know, folks, this home is for sale. for $2,995,000. The goal is 3.5. We're aiming to experience a beautiful bidding war. I do think that will occur. All of the art that you see here is for sale. So there's a QR code, and you can take it right home with you. Not tonight. I got to sell the house first.
We need it for a couple weeks, and then you can take it home.
So check it out, please. And so were these all in the same season? What was the oldest one? What is the newest one?
Yeah, these were all shot probably within the last 8 years, some of them more recently. And, you know, like I said at the beginning, the way that I started shooting was I would go on location for film shoots, and then I would shoot photography just for me, for fun.
Yes.
And I eventually felt like you guys may have noticed this shift that maybe 10 years ago, you would sit down on your couch and you would watch an entire television show or a feature movie or a long documentary. But in recent years, our attention spans have gotten so short, and all the media that we consume has gotten increasingly shorter.
Yeah.
And so I felt frustrated at times as a filmmaker that's obsessed with storytelling and the narrative. Like,
you gotta tell your whole story in 3 minutes.
You gotta tell it in 10 seconds. You gotta tell it in 6 seconds. And I found that to be a little bit underwhelming creatively. And so I felt like and why I brought this entire collection into fruition was because the idea was not 10 seconds on your phone or on your computer, but 10 years on your wall. Yeah. That was the whole... Come on in.
Wait, say that one more time. I'm sorry. Say that one more time. That was really cool.
The whole intention behind this was to have something that was long lasting and more permanent. Yeah. So the idea behind this collection is 10 years on your wall versus 10 seconds on your phone.
Make some noise for that, guys. That is really cool. So walk us through, if you don't mind, because I got to experience some of the stores, just the ones that we can see in this room. And if they click on the QR code, does it tell a little bit of the story of that one?
Some of them do. Okay. Some of them we have videos for. I'm obsessed with making videos, and so we've got 30 pieces in the collection, and there's 8 of them here tonight.
Awesome.
So some of the pieces are like this piece in the kitchen.
Yes, break this down. I thought that's really cool.
I absolutely love this piece. This is actually one of the first pieces that I printed and put in my home when I was sort of conceiving the idea for this project. And it felt so good after only outputting my work on screens for over a decade to see something in really tangible form.
Yep.
So this was shot in Lucca, Italy. And I was there for a client that's a yoga teacher. And so we did yoga in the morning and then went wine tasting in the afternoon.
Oh, how cool.
If you guys are looking for an amazing vacation, highly recommend yoga in Italy.
All right.
The most relaxed you could possibly be. And so I was in a great state when I shot this photo. I was so relaxed and very present. And I didn't want to overshoot on this particular shoot, and so I only brought film camera with me.
So that's film right there.
Yes, that's 35 millimeter film, and
no flash,
one lens, a little old camera from the 1970s.
Anybody want to take a wild guess at what that is right there?
That's a good question.
Want a wild guess? Want to take a guess?
Dan.
Gavin, what do you think that is? What do you think that is, Gavin?
Like some sort of moss in a crack growing.
Anybody else? That's really good.
Dan Luna, anything? Do you know what it is?
Coral reef. We got moss growing in something. Gavin said. Any other takers?
Connie, what do you think? Is it a drone shot?
Is it a drone shot? Could it be a drone shot? A tree trunk.
Okay. He's right.
There we go.
Spot on. All of you are right in some way. It is a close-up shot of a eucalyptus tree. The bark has split, and there's a very small microscopic lichen coming out of the tree.
Look at that.
If you guys don't know what lichen is, it's a mix between an algae and a fungus. It's actually its own species. It's very cool. You should look up,
small.
Watch a documentary about lichen. You will be blown away. And so this entire scene is about the size of my thumb, maybe even smaller. And because there's other aerial shots in the collection that were shot on a drone, some people actually think that this is a 10,000 foot zoomed out perspective. But in fact, it's the exact opposite. It's a macro shot. And so I walked by this eucalyptus tree, saw this, had just one little 1970s film camera on me, didn't even really have the right lens. Thought, okay, I'll take one shot. We'll see what happens because it's film. and we have to employ patience. I had to wait 3 weeks to get it developed and to see how it turned out.
And it's so good in
It's
this
really
location, the way it contrasts with the countertops. If anybody writes an offer for this home with me, I'm going to buy you that piece because it needs to stay
Woo!
right here, okay?
Yeah, it's true. It feels
my
like that
closing
piece was
gift to
made
you.
in a lab for this kitchen. So some of the pieces in the collection happen very organically, just like that, where I'm in nature.
Yeah.
I'm slowing down. That's been a big migration back to film. The intention behind that was really for me to slow my own creative process down.
You
With
mentioned that to
digital
me.
and everything that
Yeah.
we create, it's so fast, it's so rapid, and I really wanted to slow that down and be a lot more intentional. So when I'm shooting film,
Yeah.
I'm extremely intentional.
Oh, that's
on
awesome.
that roll.
How
I think I only brought a
beautiful.
couple rolls on that entire trip, so
Yeah.
maybe 30, 40 shots. And so some of the shots are very organic and in the moment. I call it the art of noticing. It's the idea that nature is all around us all the time. It's just up to us if we want to take the time to slow down and to engage with it.
That's so
And that's
cool.
exactly how this piece was created. And then others are not as organic. They're
Right.
very meticulously crafted.
Planned out.
So
Tell
this
us about
shot,
this one.
this shot over here is called Viridian. You guys may have seen this on Instagram or in photography books. It's a hot spring in Italy. It's called Saturnia, and it's a very popular spot. So I was on a road trip with a couple of my friends from Sweden, and we arrived in the afternoon. I had been lusting after shooting this location for several years, and when we finally arrived, it was packed with people, hundreds of people everywhere. And I said to my friends, we're going to have to sleep here, and we're going to have to come back at 4 a.m. And my Swedish friends are up for I don't know if you have any Swedish friends. Swedes are up for absolutely anything, especially anything in nature.
Yeah.
And they said, absolutely. So we pitched a tent in the parking lot
So
near
cool.
this hot spring. And we spent the night. We woke up at 4 a.m. We were the first ones there.
Wow.
That's my friend Bia in the frame. And this was exactly how I had pictured this shot in my head
that's
for
so
years.
cool.
And it was so amazing to finally see it come into fruition. And we got that hot spring to ourselves for probably an hour
Wow.
before.
So what time of day is that?
4:30.
Wow.
Well, this is probably around 5:30. In fact, I put the drone up so early that it
Okay.
was too dark to see.
Wow. So we have so many different mediums, right? Film,
Yeah.
drone. Drone?
Drone.
Anybody want to take a wild guess where this is? Don, do you know where that might be?
It's a
you know where that might be, Don? Don, you know it. What city? Don knows.
Yes, Don knows.
Laguna Beach. If you don't know, give everybody a little bit
This
of
is a
background
really
of this,
cool
if
story.
you're
So
not
I'm
aware of that.
a big nerd. I love the narrative. I love the story behind everything. So you guys have probably seen the secret pools in Laguna Beach. They're near Three Arch Bay, but a lot of people don't know the story of how they came into fruition. It's actually in the 1920s, a famous Hollywood producer by the name of Edward Griffith. He and his wife moved down from Hollywood. They had their second home in Three Arch Bay in the 20s. And they wanted to invite all of their Hollywood starlet friends down. And so they built these pools. And the way that they were built was over the course of 3 consecutive nights. Only when the tide was down, they used quick drying concrete, and they used big Hollywood movie lights to project down onto the cliffs so the workers could see what they were doing.
They could not get away with that in Laguna
Exactly.
these days. Laguna is strict.
And then to kick it off, once the pools were ready, they filled the pools with Garibaldi, and they had a huge castaways party where all these Hollywood starlets came down from LA dressed in a shipwrecked castaway theme. And there's actually pictures of it. And they put Garibaldi in all the pools. And now, obviously, people come from, all over to experience these pools. It's quite an adventure to get there. If you've never been, we should go sometime. It's really fun.
I have a listing that is
Do
the
you?
only access to those pools. That is also available for $35 million. If anybody is
A
interested,
cool
let me know.
$35 million. That would be easier to access than climbing through the caves for sure.
Well, this has been so cool. Like I said, this is the first time I've ever done this. I've sold hundreds of homes, but I've always wanted to feature art inside of a home that is also a work of art. So very honored, very thankful that you're able to not only one, be open to it, two, knock it out so quickly and so professionally. So one more time, y'all, can we make some noise for Taylor O'Sullivan? Any questions? Any questions? I had one more question I wanted to ask. I was curious if anybody has any questions about the art, about the process of her photography, anything at all. Any questions? Questions? Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So my name is Taylor O'Sullivan. So the traditional way would be calling it Fine Art Photography by Taylor O'Sullivan, which was too long of a website. So I started a new name called CULTERRA, which is my brand, and it means culture of earth. So all of these pieces will be on culterra.art and also on Instagram at culterra_.
Awesome. Awesome. When I think about the way you're pursuing your passion for art, for film, everything you've done, people, nature, there's just this pursuit of like peace and being present. And so I'm just curious, like what kind of tips or insights might you offer anybody?
Yeah.
When you think about like, no matter what you do, whether you're a real estate agent or a nurse or anything that you may do, what are some of your like, token beliefs about the art of living?
Yeah. I think that I have a tendency to want to capture absolutely everything because I'm obsessed with what I do. I love it so much. But the migration back to film really rooted from me feeling truly just overstimulated all the time, creating so much digitally. And I think today we spend so much time on our phones and we're so entranced with all of this external stimulation.
Yeah.
And I think that at the end of the day, the things that bring me the most happiness and joy are the things that are right in front of me. And so I think just it doesn't have to be anything drastic like joining a monastery or doing a vipassana, but even just taking a couple hours a week to put your phone on Do Not Disturb, to go out for a walk. We live in the most beautiful place in the world. Southern California we have so much access to nature, and I think we get so caught up in all the doing and the being and the physical possessions, but at the end of the day, if we can just unwind and spend time in nature with the people that we love, I think we'd be a lot happier.
I agree. Make some noise for that. So awesome. I know when we love to visit Oahu, and whenever we visit Oahu, we always are super intentional about where we're going to watch the sunset. Always. And there's also a sunset here. Right on, and it's just like, it's also here. And there's times where we'll go to Newport, and we could bike to the beach, like we never go to the beach. And every time I'm at the beach watching the sunset, I'm like, why don't we? It's an ocean, and so cool. Such amazing words. Well, once again, thank you for your husband for being present and just being a big support of us doing this. And thank you everybody for being here. We're gonna be open tomorrow from 11 to 2. All weekend from 11 to 2. Tell your friends, post about it, tag Taylor, tag me. Let's sell this house. Let's break a record and let's sell all the art. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much.
One more
Kevin.
time. Awesome.